everyone, it's Elston here. Here's a strange video. I don't really know what I'm doing with this video because I have to try and explain to you some sort of madness that took over me during the summer of 2020. Now, what happened is the pandemic hit and we were all in lockdown, so we were all stuck at home and we couldn't go out. We had to work from home, my business got quiet, and I was stuck with a lot of free time effectively during in between calls, not during calls, but between calls, so there wasn't a lot to do. And a friend of mine was not having such a great time, and he asked me if I could do a commission for him, and he wanted his Empire army painted up, hence what you can see on screen right now. And I was like, okay mate, I'll see if I can help you out. I found out how much he wanted painting up, and I pooped myself, and I was like, oh dear, oh dear, oh dear, oh dear, oh dear, I don't really want to do this. However, I'd already committed, so I was stuck. So I set about it, and we managed to get it done. It took approximately 2 months. There is roughly 370 models, give and take a few, I can't remember exactly how many. And they're all painted differently, so I had to deal with this batch painting element in such a different way, because I would say have 40 guys of one colour, then 40 guys of another colour. There was units where they were just a mishmash of colours, there were units which were flesh tone skins, there were units which were fabric, there were units just covered in metal, leathers, browns, reds, greens, all kinds of stuff all over the place. This was one of the weirdest things I've done. This is possibly the biggest undertaking I've done for one single army project in the quickest amount of time I've done it. And I'm quite proud of it in the end. Now, here's a side note as well. This also led me into the world of Warhammer Fantasy Battles. I was never into Warhammer Fantasy Battles. It was before my time, and unfortunately, every time I tried to get into it, I wasn't with the right people. They didn't want to teach me how to do it. Everyone kind of had their armies, what they did, and it seemed more complicated than 40k. Now, I've since doing that, I've played a game of Warhammer Fantasy Battles, and it's not as complicated. It might be as complicated, but it doesn't seem as complicated. What an element I did get from it, it seems more light-hearted, and that's very strange, because I always got the impression that Warhammer Fantasy players were more extreme and less light-hearted. However, the game I had was very fun. Now, granted, it was a beginner game, and I know they can go the other way rather quickly, but there's a certain element of randomness which seems to happen in Warhammer Fantasy, which you basically can't control, and you have to accept this going into this kind of game. It's really interesting. It's really fascinating. I don't actually know what I wanted to talk about when I was doing this video. I wanted to explain how I approached this, but how I approached this was basically I had a big pile of minis to paint and I had to get it done. So what I did is I took as many shortcuts as humanly possible. I started on the great swords. I did lots of layers with them and did various different things, and I found out that was too much. If I was doing it that way, I was never going to get there. So I started opting for using stuff like contrast paints a lot more and more heavily into it. I made the solid commitment in this not to paint eyes. Unless it was a character, I was not going to paint eyes on this. The wash from the contrast paints does enough. But when you've got mass battles like this, you don't necessarily, you're not looking at their eyes. And the friend who I was doing it for as well, he also said the same thing. He's like, when you're painting like this, you're not looking at each individual model, you're looking at the unit as a whole, and as long as the unit looks like a whole, then you're okay. So I had to keep that philosophy and that mindset in the back of my mind the whole time whilst I was doing this. Was it fun? That's debatable. Fun is a relative word. Am I proud of this? Yes, I'm very proud of this at the end. I think, and I'm struggling for words on this, the one great thing I will say about this army is it's gone to a friend and I'm going to play against it, so I'm going to see this army a lot, which is very cool. Unlike other commissions where you paint it up, it goes away and you never see it again. This one I will see, and it's nice to see that it's going to be used. Also, seeing how happy my friend was when I brought this over, and it's I want to say it was like my good deed to the world, because as I said, he was having a hard time during lockdown, and this seemed to bring a smile to his face. Granted, put me through a fair bit of not even stress, just mind numbingness challenge to deal with it and paint it, but it tested me. But I feel like I've come out of it better the other side. So this army is a border prince army, hence why every unit is different. All it is basically a load of mercenaries all together. So they'll take a bit from here, take a bit from there, and they'll smash them all together. Hence why you can see gladiators and halflings and wizards, and then knights and other coloured knights, and then swordsmen and different coloured swordsmen. They're all different, and that's what makes it really unique. The underlying tone of it is purple and gold, which is very nice complementary colours, but it also gives off that grandstanding of royalty. The purple and gold element is this very regal colour scheme, and it's nice seeing this underlying tone. You'll see like on little I don't even know what they are, little like belts or pieces of cloth tied to them, ribbons and stuff like that. They'll have purple ribbons, and it gives just a bit of a nod back to the actual army itself. Now, there's some crazy units in here that I really found fascinating to paint. For example, the war wagon. This was something I'd seen back in the old days. I never really knew about it, but I'd seen it, and here was my opportunity to have a bash at it. The war altars got fantastic conversion. The birdmen, they're crazy. There's ogres in there as well, there's wizards, there's all kinds of stuff. So this really did challenge me and push me in a lot of different directions. We had to paint reds, we had to paint blues, we had to paint yellows, we had to paint greens. All the kind of colours under the sun are basically in this army. Fur textures, metals, everything. So this is a complete ensemble of different painting techniques. Now, I'm very proud of this army. I don't really know, it's hard for me to put into words what this army means to me, because it's such a monumental undertaking that, yeah, all I can be is proud of seeing the end result, and it took me 2 months, which pushed me, but it also set a benchmark for me. So what I'm going to do with this is the intro video. What you're going to see is painting tutorials come out from this, and I will do one model from each unit, nearly every unit, and show you how I painted them. And this will hopefully give you a little bit of an idea of how I how I painted it, but took as many shortcuts as I could to be able to get the job completed, and also gives you an understanding of, yeah, these were my challenges when I had to go against this kind of thing. What you'll see as a result of that is there's going to be a big series of painting tutorials all about this. It's going to be called Painting an Empire, and this is part 1 of Painting an Empire, so you're seeing the first part of it. There's over 10 videos. I'm also planning on doing subsequent videos for another series I'm calling Every Stroke, and this will be a sort of chilled out music videos. I say music videos. Basically, it's going to be the entire painting process. If I were to show you the entire painting process of a lot of these models, it would be far too long to get into a decent video. So I'm going to speed it up to 4 times regular speed, and I'm just going to stick some music on. You can just watch me paint. I'm not going to explain anything about it. I'm not going to teach you anything. The only thing is, if you want to learn from it, you have to watch it. But if not, stick some tunes on, crack on with some painting, and if you get to look up every now and again, you'll see where I've got to with it. It's a new series, which I think would be quite interesting. But this is part 1 of Painting an Empire, and this is my journey through painting 370 models in 2 months to create a army for a game I wasn't interested in, but now I'm very interested in, the beginning parts of my Warhammer Fantasy journey. So I hope you enjoy, and I shall see you in the next one, and more videos will be on their way soon. So take it steady, everyone, and I'll see you in a bit.